to the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC podcast. Today, we have a very special friend. I love spending time with her, and we are lucky today to call her a new member of the Workforce Connections Board. So please welcome the Chief Executive Officer for Southern Nevada's Regional Transportation Commission, our newest Workforce Connections Board member, my friend, MJ Maynard. Welcome, MJ.
Oh, thanks, Tommy. It's so good to be here.
So good to
Always
see you.
a great day when I get to see you, spend time with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we've already, in just the time warming up, we've already set up a lunch date to have a special
That's right.
delicacy you haven't tried yet.
That's right.
Well, this is the second time you do our podcast because, again, even though this most recent announcement or appointment to our board, you've been a great partner already. We've worked together for years on multiple things. And so this is just, to me, it was a natural progression of the relationship, of the partnership, which we're really excited about. And you've been an advocate for our work as well. So before we get into that stuff, I want you to tell us or tell our listeners, where were you born? Where did you grow up? Go to school, high school, college, your first job, and then how you got to the RTC.
Okay, I'm old, Jaime, so that's a long history, but I'll try and make it short. Let's see. I was born actually in California. I was born in Fresno, California. Moved to the Bay Area, so lived in Oakland and then Foster City. But I moved to Seattle when I was still relatively young. So my formative years were spent in Seattle. So I really consider that my hometown. I grew up it was a pretty chaotic, kind of trauma-filled family. And so I found myself going to work early, probably earlier than other teenagers. And because we experienced food insecurity in my home, I got a job. My first job was in a restaurant, right? They feed you, and it's, I think I was the dishwasher for about 2 weeks. I got promoted to busser. It was, I was feeling pretty good about myself. But by the time I was a senior in high school, I was one of the managers of that little restaurant. And so I thought, well, I guess this is maybe what I'm going to do. I'm going to work in hospitality. Nobody in my family had gone to college. And I didn't think I was going to either, right? I think sometimes you think, this is what I know, this is what I do, and this is what I can or cannot do. And so I actually had a conversation with myself, and I said, nope, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna move on. And so I started at a community college in Seattle, and then I heard about the hotel program here in Las Vegas. And so in 1980, I came here to Las Vegas and started the program and loved it, and had a number of jobs working in the local hospitality industry. And I did everything from food serving, food running, cocktail server, bartender, you name it, right? While I was going to school, and I ended up getting married and having a little boy who's now a big grown man. But, Jaime, I was having so much fun in Las Vegas. I got so busy that I ended up dropping out of college. And I did go back. It was one of the hardest things I ever did because I had a little boy. And, but I knew that education was really the key for me to continue growing in my career. And so after working in some of the hotels here in town, I ended up getting recruited to work, or actually to open the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino before it opened. So it was March in 1995. And I was there for 12 years. It was, I learned so much working in the hotel industry.
Working directly for the owner, right?
Working directly for the owner, right? And it was really a privilege because I was again able to learn. Finance is kind of my thing, so I was able to learn a lot about numbers. You live and die with the numbers in the hotel industry, and I was able to really gain a deeper understanding of the importance of happy employees. And happy employees really equal happy customers. So, but. Who knew that maybe asked me 17 years ago, MJ, would you think a bus is sexy? Mm-hmm. I would have said, you're out of your mind. But almost 17 years ago, Jacob Snow, who was the general manager of the RTC at the time, heard that the hotel was up for sale and asked me what I was going to do. And I just kind of joking around, I said, well, maybe I'll come work for you. I wasn't even really sure what he did, but long story short, he offered me a job and I accepted. I was working so much in the hotel industry, 6 days a week at least, and it was hard on my son, and so I made a decision to move on, and it was the best decision I've ever made. So I started as assistant general manager, and then deputy CEO, and then here I am. I mean, listen, Jaime, I love it there, but I love that I get to work with this team, the employees of the RTC, incredibly talented. They care for the community, and we're very, very, very fortunate in that we contract out our public transit service. So all the bus drivers, the operators, the mechanics, the support staff, they're the ones really that make the agency move, and that's why we're successful. Not necessarily because of me, but because of the team.
And I know all those people really admire you and your team also because, as you know, we work with Cecil from Keolis over the years. We've heard about, the structure, as you said, how vendors might transition, but that structure, if you will, in many ways still stays the same because the vendor might change, but the people working, the bus drivers, they stay the same, and they just transition in a way. They're still working, to serve Southern Nevadas through the RTC, and we're going to talk about mobility a bit later. But I made a couple of mental notes there. Every time we talk, I learn a little bit more about why I think, we get along so well. My first job here in the States was a dishwasher because I came, and we've talked about that. And
we're going to have a dish off. We're going to okay.
We can try to see who can run that machine. But I also felt so good when I became a busboy and then a waiter and eventually. And so I think that's where I can tell you learned that work ethic that then carried you at the Hard Rock. I know we talk about this all the time. Who would have known? You knew my brother back then. Right. You and I didn't know. And so over Mother's Day, my brother said, make sure you mention me in the podcast. So Aaron, this one's for you. Here's MJ. So
he's a great guy. He was a great employee.
So he always, remembers you and your journey in the Hard Rock kindly. The day that you guys celebrated if you will, the transition from Hard Rock to Virgin, you went to that party. I saw pictures and you saw people that you worked for 20, 30 years. And so that says a lot about you. I also, I think, made another mental note to think, I love it when you say, buses are sexy, and we're going to talk about mobility, but orange cones are sexy too, right?
Oh, well, it's an acquired taste.
and that is all about, I think, when you talk about the impact, really, when you see an orange cone, you can feel at first it's a nuisance, but it means growth.
It does.
It means progress. It means economic development. It means more infrastructure for more businesses and transportation and all that. So we're going to get into that here real shortly. So you and I met, I remember the night we met, again, you already knew my brother who knew, but Tina was going away. She was transitioning out of the RTC, and I went to her goodbye party, and she pulled me aside and said, I need you to meet MJ, the new CEO. And I was thrilled to meet you. And she said, you guys are going to be great partners. And she was right. I said, we really hit it off. And again, I've been happy to be working with you all this time. And now that you are a board member, an official board member, I think we got so much work to do. So one of the things I love the most that you say is, yes, we have water problems here in our region, and that's an issue that we need to face on how we recruit businesses here that are water smart. We have land issues here. We only have developable land, I think, for a few more years. We all know about the healthcare, the lack of healthcare or quality healthcare here that we're all working on. So these are real big regional problems, our labor shortage. But I love when you say, Workforce Connections, our mission statement is connecting employers to our ready workforce. Well, you can't bring ready workers to an employer without mobility. And so I love that you talk about that's part of the mission, that mobility has to be really thought about in a really strategic way regionally, and how we make sure that workers can really go to the jobs they need and then grow, because they need to go get educated at the community college as well. So why is mobility key to workforce development, MJ?
So first and foremost, at the RTC, our job is to connect people. So, and we're multimodal, right? It's connect people by way of public transit, biking. Let me just back up for a sec. So the RTC, we're very, very unique. We are the only agency in the United States that we wear multiple hats. We are the public transit provider. We're also the Metropolitan Planning Organization. And in that role, we work closely with all of the cities. So City of Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, City of Henderson, Mesquite, Boulder City, and Clark County. to do all the transportation planning process for all of Southern Nevada. We are also the roadway funding agency. So think of us as the big giant bank, and we provide all of the funding to, again, the cities and the county for all of the infrastructure, roadway infrastructure. We are the traffic manager for the region. And again, we work collaboratively and on behalf of NDOT and all of the jurisdictions. It's their equipment. We manage their equipment. So think of there's over 1,600 signalized traffic signals in Southern Nevada. Think of the ramp metering on the freeway, all the gantry signs, the X over arrows, and all of that. Yeah, that's us. And so when we look at how we're moving folks, it really is it is a multimodal approach. Mobility in and of itself is a key driver for the economy, whether it is you're moving goods and services by way of, big trucks think how many trucks you see on Interstate 15 every single day. But it is about, again, ensuring that folks have the ability to not only get to a job, to get to further education, to get to healthcare appointments. And in some cases, it really is about just ensuring that folks are you can't plan on getting to work and doing a good job unless you are certain and sure that you are taking care of yourself and you're able to, again, all the things in life that you need to thrive. And that's mobility it plays certainly a part of that. But I think, transit systems around the United States do not do a good job of telling our story. And what do I mean by that? So at the RTC, we are and people are always surprised to hear this, we're the 14th busiest bus system in the United States. And I think if you don't take public transit here in Southern Nevada, and I grew up transit, I took transit a lot when I was growing up. And I think if you've never taken it, you just think it must be for the quote unquote poor people. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. Certainly we move everybody. We're a public system. But of the 150,000 daily boardings, 80% of those boardings are employees going to work. So we connect employees to employers. And it is, it's not just the hotel, but certainly the largest employer in Southern Nevada would be the gaming industry, hotel gaming industry. But we're connecting employees to hundreds of businesses all over the valley, whether they're small businesses, medium-sized, large businesses. And so it is ensuring that we're getting folks to work as efficiently as we can, as safely as we can. If you are, again, apologies for the orange cones, but they're not going anywhere. And so it's ensuring as a traffic manager, we're getting you there as efficiently as possible. As a public transit provider, that we're reliable and we're getting you where you need to go. But it really is, again, I don't think people that sort of connect mobility, public transit, and getting to work. And it's absolutely vital, because think of all the businesses, if not for the ability to not only drive and get there on time, but it's also the ability to use public transit. And if you are an employer and you mentioned the labor shortage, that's not going away. And so if you're not thinking differently and thinking of all the ways you can cast a wider net to get to attract and retain employees, it is also the way they're going to get there.
And MJ, so far, like you said, it's just multiple styles of buses. But if our region keeps growing, light rail is not out of the question one day, right, to move people around. I know that it's been explored on that Maryland Parkway corridor. We know also that in here, the boring companies already going underneath. So again, transportation is, as you said, vital to connecting employers to already workforce. I'm trying to think, and here maybe we can add that little bit mobility right there.
It's incredibly important. And think of, even from a business perspective, not only do you need the employees, we'll talk about the Hard Rock, use that example. So whether you've got day shift is leaving and swing shift is coming on, or swing shift is leaving, graveyard's coming on, right? So you've got those employees coming and going. Think of the large casino floor, for example, and you have somebody that just got off day shift and somebody that's supposed to be taking over that area of the casino. Either the bus didn't make it, the bus was late, their car broke down, there was construction. So now you have an employee that did not get to work. So not only are you losing sales, right? You're not selling, you're not But you also think of that customer experience, the impact of having no one there to serve you. That's just a really small example of the importance of ensuring that, again, how you travel, it's done as efficiently as possible, it's done as safely as possible, because it's not only about ensuring that businesses make money, that's their job, but it's also about ensuring that customer experience is one that is memorable. Whether it's the tourists, we want them to come back. Whether it's the locals, we want them to come and patronize our places. It's super important. So yeah, it should say workforce connections, people, partners with possibilities, and mobility.
Or buses are sexy.
Or buses are sexy. That's
One of
right.
the two. MJ, let's talk about labor again. Obviously, you are in the business of moving that labor to the places where businesses can grow, be productive. But we have a labor shortage, and not just here in Southern Nevada, across the country, millions of jobs unfulfilled. A unengaged labor force, people that, during the recession, they pressed the reset button and they recalibrated how they want to work, remote, hybrid, childcare, all these different issues. And it's more important than ever, I think, that we now have to capitalize on alternate labor pools. And you have been a very huge advocate of, for example, the reentry population.
Right.
You were on the board of Hope for Prisoners. And so really helping move those people from, dependency on the system to actually being, taxpayers themselves, supporting their families. You've been an advocate for that. People with disabilities today can compete in the workforce in a way they couldn't before. There's companies like Sephora who gives them a platform.
Right. That's right.
And so our returning vets, but also disconnected youth. There is now a huge issue, if you will, with almost 42,000 young people between the ages of 16 and 24 that in our valley are not engaged in employment or meaningful post-secondary skill acquisition. And so again, the RTC is helping us with a campaign, an outreach campaign that will be on buses, on bus stops, transit centers, to really try to connect with those young people, because if we could get those 42,000 working, that would make a huge dent on the amount of open jobs just here in our valley. And so again, thanks to the RTC for helping us with that, to connect with those young people. But there's also an additional 30,000 that will be graduating in just May. And every year there'll be an additional 30,000. They'll be graduating from the Clark County School District. And so you talked earlier about articulating the story better. We want to partner with the RTC and other employers to really tell the story about occupations, careers, and transportations, logistics, not just after they graduate high school, but while they're in high school, while they're in middle school, and while they're in elementary school. Create platforms like the activity books, online platforms by which employers can really get their message and tell their story early about the opportunities. Why do you think it's important for employers like you to connect with that early talent pipeline?
Gosh, I just love that question. I think and I'll go back to what I mentioned. When I was deciding what I was going to do, many times you're influenced by what you experience and what you know. And so when you think of young folks, depending on their family structure, depending on where they live, they might believe that, if their parents work in the casino industry, for example, I think just assume, well, I guess that's what I'm going to do. Or, there are many examples like that. And I think it's really important to expose young people to all the opportunities, because it doesn't matter, where you're from, what you've gone through, what you think you might want to do. It's the windshield's larger than the rearview mirror for a reason, right? You get to look forward and think about what is possible. And I think Workforce Connections and this partnership, ensuring that the young people who live here in Southern Nevada get an opportunity, they're exposed to other opportunities, right? College is not for everybody. The skilled trades, I think you and I have talked about the mechanics that work on buses. They make six figures, right? It's a really incredible career opportunity. And so, we partner with the Clark County School District. We have a program called the Ride On program. Just last year, there were over 300,000 trips made by high school students. And so they're going to get an opportunity to get exposed to different opportunities, just seeing some of the collateral in our partnership with Workforce Connections. But they also, we track, it's anonymized, so we don't know which student, where they're going. But we know how often they travel. And we're seeing that they also are using the pass. The Clark County School District pays for the pass. They actually get a chance, they use a lot of it to work or to travel on the weekends. So we know that they're going to work. We know that they're going to, social activities. And so again, an opportunity to be exposed to other opportunities. And, we've always talked about Southern Nevada being one of the fastest growing regions in the United States. But at the same time, while people are moving in, people are also moving out. So there's got to be a new focus on retention. And that's the community that you want, is one where everybody's invested and we're looking out for the younger folks and showing them a way. Because you're right, this workforce, that's, the pandemic's, I guess officially over. Well, I mean, maybe it's not officially over, but I'm saying we're certainly, 3 years out of it. And I think for a while, I think there was this general thought that people were sitting at home, just living off their stimulus checks. I think if you've seen the stats, the lower birth rates, more baby boomers are older. There's the grain of the workforce, and so if you're not thinking differently, you're gonna fall short. And that's why I was whether it is working with Catholic Charities and helping folks that immigrate to the United States, or is looking for folks that have been previously incarcerated. This is about opening your eyes and understand that everybody has an opportunity. And if you show them the way and you show that there's other ways to make a living, I think it can be an exciting, pivotal moment for a lot of folks, especially young people.
Thank you for saying that, MJ, because you're right. A lot of times people think that this labor shortage was just caused by the pandemic, and no doubt the pandemic had a role in what's happening. But as you said, if you go back a few decades, birth rates in our country have diminished. Immigration rates have diminished, which was a huge way how we built this country, was immigrants. A higher number of retirees than before. And all that combines for that perfect storm of this labor shortage that was decades in the making, and exacerbated by this pandemic. So you're right. I think we have to think differently. We have to really do the best we can to tap into that early talent pool, because while we still need architects, engineers, and doctors, not everybody needs to go to college. As you said, you can be a diesel mechanic working on the RTC buses and make $120,000. So, and there's other careers as well like that. So, one of the things you also helped us with last year with the RTC was Southern Nevada. We partnered with CSN and CCSD to convene employers. UNLV, Nevada State College, all the skill acquisition, if you will, partners in our region. And we brought in employers like you, like the RTC, to form 7 industry sector partnerships, one for each of the target sectors that the LVGEA, our friend Tina,
that's right,
identified.
Best boss ever.
That's right, Tina. Shout out for you too. My brother and Tina.
That's right. That's right.
So those 7 sectors are our growth sectors. As you said, you and I worked in the hospitality industry. It's the bread and butter of this region, probably mining in the north. But now we're really trying to grow these other sectors, healthcare, manufacturing, IT. And so one of the things we did was pull in employers. And again, the RTC was there at the table to really start to identify, not only agree that, yes, we have to do a better job at telling our story and earlier in that pipeline to tell young people about all the different opportunities they have. But also one of the things we did, MJ, was identify some common needs, because if you have 30 employers in one industry, they might all have different needs, but they also most likely are going to have some common needs. And so you helped us identify common workforce development issues that we could get to work on. And we did. Last year, again, we delivered on several of the issues that the employers wanted. We were able to work on those issues and provide benefit for all the employers. Why do you think it's important for employers like you to really be leading how workforce development happens in our region?
Well, you mentioned the LVGEA, and again, shout out to Tina Quigley. She was my boss for a number of years. Really, really fortunate to have worked for her. So if you look at think of the Governor's Office of Economic Development or the LVGEA, any of the chambers of commerce, they're focused on strategy and policy. around diversifying the economy, because I've been here, I think you and I have both been here for a long time, and we've heard that sort of this catchphrase, we need to diversify the economy. And so as you've got these experts that are, that's really their core function, is to go out and try and bring, whether back in the day it was bringing Amazon to Southern Nevada, Haas Automation's coming to the city of Henderson.
Switch.
Right, switch, exactly. I think there's this momentum behind diversifying the economy. So the RTC, we're now going to be part of that. Once the strategy and policy is implemented and you've got employers willing to relocate to Southern Nevada, then how do they get to work? And, I'll use the example in North Las Vegas. The cities and the chambers can work with these businesses. They can identify a location that they want to build their facility. All of the infrastructure is put in, the roadway, the utilities, all that's done. And then the question is asked, oh my gosh, how are my employees going to get here? And we have found sometimes we're not brought in maybe at the right time. The timing's everything. And so we really work hard to identify potential mobility solutions for those employers, because that is our job, right, to connect people. So certainly the driving nature behind how how we diversify Southern Nevada is certainly not something that we do. We try to help benefit that, right? And it's making sure, again, the roadway infrastructure is sound. The operation and maintenance of roadways is good. The traffic management, getting people as quickly as we can in and around Southern Nevada, and then public transit, walking, biking, all of that. So we're just part of the the secret sauce.
Yeah.
In terms of ensuring, again, that we can continue to expand the types of jobs that you can have and here in Southern Nevada.
And MJ, let's dive down a little deeper into specific career opportunities at RTC, and of course your vendors, as the organizations that you subcontract with to run the transit system and the signaling and all that. And so again, in my mind, because one of these days, I do want to. I don't know if you know this. I think I shared this story with you a long time ago. Erica Aviles, who works with you guys too. Erica brought us a printed booklet that was made for the RTC for their writers, and it was in English and in Spanish. Do you remember that?
I sure do. Yeah. She's really talented.
Yeah, and so that booklet was one of the things that inspired us to do our activity book that is now in all elementary schools, highlighting again the top in-demand occupations here in Southern Nevada that comes out of the information from the LVGA for those sectors. And we also want to do one with the RTC, again, selecting perhaps 6 occupations, and then making sure, again, that we're telling that story, whether it's jobs in the RTC or the subcontractors, early, so kids can start to envision themselves as diesel mechanics, bus operators, and so forth. So tell us maybe a handful of occupations, the type of jobs that one can find either at the RTC, and what kind of salaries and what kind of, again, positions are they?
It's because I think when you think of RTC, you think, we're the bus people. And so, you can be a bus driver, you can be a mechanic, and those are really great jobs. But we're like any other business, we need finance people, we need marketing people,
legal people.
We need attorneys. Everyone needs an attorney. And I think sometimes you think, I don't think you think about the RTC as that, but we wear so many hats. Engineers, a lot of engineers. So civil engineers, urban planners,
IT stuff.
IT, exactly. And so it's not, again, it's not so narrow that it's just about the operations piece. It's the administration of what you do, what we do at the RTC. And so I think it's, again, our contractors, whether it's Silver State Transportation, and we've got folks that are out there maintaining our bus shelters and cleaning them, to we've got an advertising partners, so folks that are out there selling all the ads that you see on our buses or in the resort corridor. And of course, then we work with our paratransit vendor, MV, and soon to be Transdev. And there again, and even under their umbrella, it is again, operators, mechanics, but it's support staff, it's supervisors, it's managers, it's directors. And so there is so much potential under the transportation umbrella. And I don't know if we've done a great job in informing especially young people that it's a great career, and they can not. We don't want them to leave Southern Nevada. They can come work here, but it's something you can do anywhere around the world. Quite frankly,
we want to help you. Again, I know that there's we're working on a lot of stuff, but we're going to find the time to make a booklet that is specific to the occupations within the RTC and your subcontractors. That's a commitment from us. So you heard it here first.
Okay.
All right.
That's awesome.
So MJ, when doing our research about you, because the legend of MJ, and in preparation, we found lots of tasty bits about you. I know. I have them right here. So one of them is very simple, but you love chocolate and peanut butter. So
I do.
Yeah. So we brought these, on the way back home.
There is nothing better than chocolate and peanut butter combined, right?
But we also know you love a good glass of red wine with a book.
I do.
We know you
and chocolate. Actually, red wine and chocolate go really well together.
All right. And you also love to spend time with your dogs. We see, your postings. You take them up to the mountains. Those of us who know you better, you're an early riser, and you run to that gym. You want to make it back that, have your yoga class. So you want to get that workout out early.
That's right.
You told me it makes you feel better throughout the day.
Oh, it does.
So, and there was more, but I want to hear it from you. So tell us and tell our listeners, what does the perfect day, not at work, because I know you work a lot too. I even sometimes, on our time off, we're working, but I want to hear that perfect day of relaxation for MJ. Describe that day for us from beginning to end.
Jaime, if you had asked me that question prior to December of 2022, I might have answered it differently. But I lost my husband in December. He took his own life. And so really for me today it's getting out in the community and talking about, my husband was a retired police officer. So it's about talking about mental health, mental well-being of first responders. So my life is different now. Yes, I still love the red wine and chocolate, love my dogs, but I have a different focus now, and it's learning how to live without him, but also learning to honor him. And again, I think suicide has such a stigma. People don't like to talk about it. It's especially if you were, the guy that put the gun, the badge, and the belt on. And so for me, that is something that is bringing me a lot of passion in my life today. Can't get away from that good workout. Starting with coffee in the morning, maybe a glass of wine at night. I mean, that's pretty perfect. Have your dogs next to you. And I try, again, I think I'm going to spend the next few months ensuring again that I've had a chance to work with the new sheriff from Bay Hill. I'll not necessarily work with him, but I've been invited to, he's undergoing a really large effort. He's going to create a wellness bureau at Metro. And so I'm going to help on it any way that I can, because I'm committed to ensuring that there's more conversation around mental health and suicide and suicide prevention. So that, is that relaxing? No, but it's, it's part of my life now. Again, is a way to honor my husband. So that's, I know you probably were like, what, MJ? Wasn't expecting that, but I think it's important, Jaime. I think it's really important that it's talked about.
I love it, MJ, and I love you. You're my friend, and every day I grow to just admire you more, because you have the courage, as you just did now, to talk about it, to embrace it, and now it's part of your new life, as you said. And today we didn't talk about it much, but one of the reasons my young, I say kids, but they're young adults, right? They're my children. They love you.
They're always our babies, huh?
Yes. Yeah. And but when they met you, you, as you said earlier, you mentioned a little bit about it. You had challenges in your life, the really big ones, and nobody would know that inside this, tiny sculptured body that we see here, because I can see the guns, MJ, but lives a lion. I mean, you are fierce, courageous, and brave, and this latest chapter 2, it just shows me that we as humans are capable of rising.
That's right.
Despite, the worst things. And so I admire you for that, commend you. And thank you for sharing that with everybody. It is important to talk about. So thank you, MJ. I want to switch now to the next question, because it's a small question, but I need to maybe give it some context.
Okay.
MJ, you're considered a national leader in public transit management. You were appointed to serve on the American Public Transportation Association, a 25-member executive committee. You served on its board of directors since 2018. You're a member of its CEO Coordinating Council. You were appointed to the board of directors of the Intelligent Transportation Society of America, as well as a 2-year term of the board of directors for the Women's Transportation Seminar International. You're also a board member of the Hydrogen Fuel Cell Bus Council, an active member of the advisory working group for the Nevada Department of Transportation Sustainable Funding for Transportation Study. That was a lot there. You got to catch your breath. You serve on the board of directors for Three Square, on the advisory council of the Mob Museum. You serve your term limit on the board of directors for Hope for Prisoners. You were the chair for the Henderson District Public Libraries Board of Trustees, a board member of the Henderson Chamber Foundation. Your recent recognitions include Vegas' Inc.'s Women Inspiring Nevada Award in 2022, Nevada Business Magazine's Women to Watch in 2021, and the National Association of Women Business Owners Southern Nevada's Chapter 2021 Women of Distinction Award in the glass ceiling category. Just that shattered like this, that glass ceiling. The Henderson Development Association and the City of Henderson honored you as the 2013 O'Callaghan Public Sector Person of the Year for Transportation Enhancements and Partnerships that support economic development in Henderson. And additionally, the Safe Community Partnership Program recognized you in 2010 as the Safe Communities Angel of the Year. So MJ, my friend, you've accomplished so much, and this is just a small thing because, we didn't want to embarrass you too much, but all this is in context of if there's a little girl or little girls or young girls out there thinking, well, how do I become MJ? First of all, to be the sculptor, you have to work out every morning. That's number one. But how do I become a community leader like her, an influencer like her that's really helping the region grow and connect? How do we become, that inspirational, not just community leader, but business leader as well? What would you tell young girls that want to be you?
I think it's really important that whatever your circumstances are, right? I think everybody has a story, right? Life's not always easy. So I think whatever your circumstances are, it does not have to define who you are going to be or who you can be. And I'm a big believer in connecting with people. So, I think no one's going to come to you and say, "Hi, my name's MJ and I'm your mentor." I think sometimes when you certainly look for people that it's okay. You don't have to have all the answers. Ask a lot of questions. But believe in yourself. And I think sometimes, especially young women I think we have I say we like I'm still young.
You are.
But I think young women I think we expect that we have to know everything before we try to go for that job, another job title, if you will. And so I think it's important to believe in your capabilities, even if you don't know what you're capable of, right? I think you can be fearless, and it's okay to acknowledge it. It might feel scary. You might be afraid, but I really think you can do anything you put your mind to. And then as you're moving along in your career, I think it's important to always give back. And so when you look for other young people, young women that maybe they don't see the potential that they have, but you may. And so what an opportunity for you to help them along the way. So I think it's a matter of believing that you can do anything. If you are a young person, again, doesn't matter what your circumstances have been, go for it. You can be anything you put your mind to.
Very inspirational, MJ. And as I listen with my young boy cap on, that applies to young boys as well.
That's exactly right.
So thank you for being here, my friend.
Jaime, I'd love spending time with you.
Thank you so much. I think we only scratched the surface. We've only scratched the surface so far about what we can do together. Again, super happy that you're now an official member.
And I want to sit at the side. Okay. A nice
buses are
That's right.
We're going to make that happen, Jay. Thank you for being here today.
Jaime, thanks so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
So that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope to see you at another one. Until then, stay safe. Okay, MJ, thank you for staying over to do our bonus segment called Against the Wall. Are you ready?
I think so.
In your honor, we devised a new game, a new segment. It's called True or False. Can you show us your paddles? Yes, there we go. True or false. So this is a brand new segment in honor of MJ. So I'm going to start easy. Are you ready?
Promise it's easy?
It's easy.
Okay.
So watch the double negatives. So you hate shopping. The statement is you hate shopping. Yes, true. Yes, I know that. Another one. You love your gym clothing. You love gym clothing.
True.
Yes, it's very true. Very good. You're getting that double negative well there. So you love the Green Mile movie with Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah. I
True
love that
also.
movie. Yes.
What's the name? Mr. Jingles?
Mr. Jingles.
Mr. Jingle. It gets you every time.
Great movie.
Christmas is your favorite holiday.
It's true, and not because of presents. My husband and I never. That wasn't about presents, but it's about really the spirit of people, the humanitarian spirit of Christmas. I love
it, and I'm also seeing a trend here because we're going all true so far. Okay. So you thought it would be all hot. Oh, here's maybe you enjoy cooking.
Is there sometimes?
Okay, sometimes yeah. So true or false sometimes. You love to go on walks.
True.
True.
Especially with the dogs.
You bring water everywhere you go.
True.
That research team is on it, huh? Wow. You are thrilled to be on the Workforce Connections board.
Do I have an absolutely
so true.
in front of the true? Absolutely true? Yes.
And this one, the president of the MJ fan club works here at Workforce Connections. True. All right. Very good. All right. You did well with our true or false game. We're going to move to the next segment called Tough Choices. Are you ready? You don't need your paddles here.
I knew it wasn't going to be this easy. Okay.
Not that tough.
Softball questions. All
so
right.
Let's think about it. MJ, would you rather vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Would you rather drive to that vacation spot or fly there?
Fly.
Once you get there, would you rather stay in a hotel or an Airbnb?
Hotel.
Would you rather visit Machu Picchu in Peru or the pyramids in Egypt?
You know what I'm going to pick, Jaime. Peru.
Okay,
absolutely.
Machu Picchu. All right. Would you rather retire in the woods or in the city?
I want to do part-time. Part-time in the city, part-time in the...
I like that. Have the apartment and the cabin.
That's right.
Okay, very good. Ooh, this is a tough one, MJ. Walk the dog or go to a yoga class?
Walk the dogs.
Okay.
Love my dogs.
That was quicker than I thought. Actions or words?
Actions.
Justice or grace?
Both. I mean, I think they're both really important. I think grace is important, but I think justice is really important.
Very good. Well, you made it through the tough choices section.
Okay.
See? It's unscathed. So the final segment is called Finish the Sentence. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll try.
If MJ could visit any place in the world, it would be?
To go back to Ireland.
Ooh, nice. If MJ could travel back in time, she would travel to?
I'd love to have been a child of the 60s.
Oh, wow.
I was kind of close, but...
The flower child. Wow, okay. The best part of living in Southern Nevada is?
Our can-do attitude in this state.
Great. MJ's favorite thing about her job at the RTC is?
The staff, the team. It's a dream team.
And MJ is thrilled about being on the Workforce Connections board because?
I get to... Jaime. I mean, I get to work with Jaime.
Yay.
You know what I think, Jaime? Again, it is the fact that we are part of that that solution to ensuring that employees and employers make that connection that's so needed. So I'm really excited to be joining the board.
And we are too, MJ. We're so grateful you're here. And I gave you some help here at the end of of our podcast. I used a few words, but you tell me 3 words that describe MJ.
Oh, let's see. You know what word came? My son. I told you he called me crazy, but I'm not using that word for me. That's my son's word for me. I think I'm disciplined. I'm empathetic, and I also never give up.
I couldn't agree more. And that's a short list. I could keep going, but we'll save that for another episode. I love that. But give us that little tidbit that Quinn says is like a hybrid word. It's not
Quinn, my son. Now my son's grown now, and we have a great relationship. He's my only one.
It's not Phoebe.
No, it's called Feeble.
Feeble. Okay.
When he was in high school, middle school and high school, he said I was crazy and crazy and psycho and evil. And so
it's feeble.
It's
That's
feeble.
good. I need to use that.
I'm going to look it in the Urban Dictionary and see
I'm
if
going
it's
to use
there.
that too. MJ, last one. Doing the WC podcast here with us today was?
A 10, the best.
Awesome. MJ, thank you for staying with us today.
Simon.
Do the bonus segment.
Thank you.